Welcome to a podcast celebrating Scottish culture and entertainment, which is here to sing the praises of books, films, comedy, music, theatre, exhibitions, telly, poetry, and all that jazz. I'm Nicola Meehan. I'm an arts writer and broadcaster, and I'll give you the lowdown on what's coming up, what's happening now, what came before, and what we love, which is to say that every week, nearly, I'm here to give you a kick up the arts. Now, if you're a regular listener, you will be glad to hear that this is your final reminder that I am in conversation live with special guests at the Edinburgh Fringe next week. That's August the 18th to the 24th. I would love you to join us 2 to 3 p.m. at the stand. Both Barbara Dixon on the 20th and Horse on the 24th are going to chat and also play some songs live for us. How amazing is that? And other guests are Gavin Mitchell on the 18th, Gordon Buchanan on the 19th, Grant Stott on the 21st and Justin Curry on the 23rd. Right now, though, I'm hearing from one of our most gorgeous and inventive musicians who's a composer, harpist, singer, songwriter and, as it turns out, a pretty fierce conductor as well. Esther Swift is at Edinburgh International Book Festival tonight in a collaboration with Jackie Kay. What a wonder! So we talked about that. And we also chatted about Esther's glorious album, Expectations of a Lifetime. But we met in Bowhouse after a superb Zulu Voyage community performance at this year's East Neuk Festival in Fife a little while ago. And that told the story of a fishing boat, its lives and loves and journeys. And so we started with that.
When did you get here this year for the East Neuk Festival, Esther?
So we started rehearsals here in Bowhouse last weekend. We had the big rehearsal with all 4 ensembles last Saturday, which is amazing. First time I heard them all together in the space.
Yes. So you've kind of been here for a week.
Yeah, kind of on and off.
I just arrived today, just in time for that incredible Zulu Voyage performance, which we'll talk about. But I feel like I've been here since Wednesday, because on Wednesday I was on the Portobello Promenade, having a little cup of coffee with my friend Amy, and I heard someone behind me who had an ice cream, and I was like, that can only be Sue Ali.
Yeah.
And it was. Having an ice cream. And she was on her way. She'd been to the dump. She was at Portobello, and then she was going to the East Neuk Festival. She's got this incredible installation in the cave in Pittenweem. So I kind of feel like I've been here for a little while longer, which is just fine. When we arrived today, even in the car park, it was absolutely jumping. I mean, the contrast probably for you as well between the rehearsal and just the atmosphere before we get to the actual performance was incredible today, wasn't it?
Absolutely. But I have to say, like the 80 participants, it felt pretty hectic, even last weekend with just them.
Right.
So yeah, I kind of was surprised because it was all blacked out in the May room, and in the run through we did this morning, it felt quite quiet, and then the audience appeared, and I was kind of surprised that there's people here as well now.
I forgot that was going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I suppose you already had so many people around, right? It's like, oh my goodness, and then it's going to double or whatever on earth. It was sold out anyway. I didn't know what to expect. I loved the story, and we will come to that. I knew it was going to be a promenade performance, so I have these ideas in my head, but I didn't appreciate how much it was all going to come together. And I really loved it, but I came out, and we're not that long out of it, and I really felt quite emotional, and I can't imagine what that must be like for you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I suppose it's been in the making. I wrote a kind of smaller version of the piece for last year's festival, and so that was for a smaller ensemble. Mm-hmm. Actually, it was still with members of Stamp Orchestra, but they were all playing percussion instruments.
Wow, okay.
So it was a very percussion heavy version of the piece. And so this year, I spent a few months at the start of the year kind of orchestrating for various different ensembles and for the jazz orchestra as well, who obviously need specific music, specific presentation, operate in a very different way to the orchestra, and then the choir again operates slightly differently. So yeah, it was emotional. You know what the most emotional thing was? Just how I was filled with like this sense of hope for the next generation. Seeing all of these amazing musicians like rise to the challenge, these young people. Really kind of caring about the story and about the, intention of the project and being part of this. And, and just being privileged enough to in my own small way, foster that creativity, you know, and just let them shine in that moment. It was just amazing. It felt, really, really nice for me. So
I absolutely agree with that. I think that there was something particularly powerful about this story, and the journeys of the boat, but also the fact that we did have the kind of kids' voices. And we had the older musicians as well. And because this is a story and a performance that is about generations in many ways, right? Families, of industry, and of the wonderful tale of this boat at the heart of it. So to have the wide range of voices, I think maybe was one of the reasons why it had this really sort of emotionally resonant landscape. Because we go back and forward in time in the story, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We sort of start in, I suppose, the present day with the ocean, with the sea, who I suppose is timeless in the sense that I like to call her she, kind of just always holds our past, our present, and our future. You know, the sea holds all of these stories inside her, and it's up to us to listen to them and discover these stories and look inside her, you know, and so it starts with that, with the present day, and then it goes to the birth of the Zulu herring fishing boat, which was played by the East Fife Community Ensemble. There's different stages. So the first stage was called stage 1, where the ocean is introduced, and then stage 2 is kind of around the room, because it was performed all around the boathouse space. So we travelled around the whole room, as the boat travelled as well.
And as we travel too, right?
And as the audience travelled, yeah. I really wanted to get the audience to feel the journey of the boat as well, and just to enjoy the space too, because it's not often that you have such a huge, you know, and like opportunity. And even this building itself is filled with stories, you know, and I think it's kind of at the heart of Fife, you know, and it feels East Neuk. And it feels like it holds lots of different things. There's a butcher. We're actually recording right beside a butcher here.
We're going to record in the barn. We were all set up, and there was some swallows. It was beautiful. I was like, we can definitely have noise pollution if it's birds. But there's a sort of back window, and it was getting very windy and rattling, and we thought, right, okay, so that was a picnic table. Now we're inside. And yes, we're beside a butcher, and also Scotland the bread right behind us. So there you go.
Amazing.
Bread matters. Don't we know it? And I can see Futtle, in fact, the wonderful record shop and brew house is just there. We're going to go afterwards, aren't we?
Yes.
For the records, of course. You mentioned the journey of the boat.
Yeah.
And it is a journey, but it's also the life of the boat. So tell us about the boat, and what do you think it was about this particular story that you couldn't shake in many ways, you know, that has just lived with you and has been in your imagination. And as you say, you're revisiting something that came to life first last year in this huge way. It's not going away, is it?
Yeah. I think, you know, the initial kind of inspiration for it was when I was at the Anstruther Fisheries Museum.
Yeah.
And I saw this boat, and it was the first time I'd seen the Zulu herring fishing boat. And it was just so beautiful and big, and kind of just this powerful, basically dominating the whole room.
Yeah, I've seen it. Absolutely. I mean, you cannot miss it.
You cannot miss it.
Emotionally as much as visually.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And so last year's version, we performed actually right underneath it.
Oh, yeah.
And so we literally felt the acoustics of the boat.
Yeah.
And we had this kind of lighting which shone a light on the boat, and we used the shadows of it to kind of conjure the shadows of the past, I suppose.
Yeah.
Was the idea. And yeah, you know, it was just that, and that sparked loads of research. Like, it got kind of, to be honest, quite obsessive research. I find it really hard to stop.
You're speaking to a kindred spirit. It's fine.
Yeah, because it's just such, you know, it was, I think, a really exciting and hopeful time in our recent history, actually. You know, the 1880s, 1890s for small family businesses, and it involved the whole family. You know, the silver lassies, silver darlings, who were the women who got the fish. The kids used to chase away the birds, and then the fishermen, obviously, because it was men predominantly then in those days, would go out and collect all of these superstitions around, like, whether they were going to have a good catch or not.
Yeah.
Which are fascinating. Like all of those stories, I couldn't choose which ones to use. And then, of course, the music, the music that would traveled around Scotland and further afield, like right down to Cornwall. Sometimes the boats were taken down there. And so, there are actually some Gaelic speakers in Cornwall. I didn't know that, but there are still, some Gaelic speakers who speak Gaelic because of the Zulu hiring fishing boats. It was in the fishing industry back then. And then this particular boat, then after it kind of worked the coasts of Fife, it then journeyed up during the war period to Shetland. So I wanted to conjure the power of the North Sea, because I've been up there and it's a bit of a rough ride.
You get that though. You do. You evoke it. It has to be, right? Yeah. So then, because the journey and the life, we go up to Shetland, and then but that's not the end, right?
No. So
but there's no end.
There's no end. Exactly. That's a nice way of putting it. Because so I sort of I track it through tunes. I did start off with a pipe tune from Fife, and then there's an Aberdeenshire tune where it leaves the coast of mainland Scotland, and then there's an Orkney tune ending with a Wolseley tune, where the Heather Bell, because the boat was renamed as called Research, when she arrived in Shetland. Before that, she was called Heather Bell, which is beautiful.
And then my favorite one.
I know, I like that as well. And she was repurposed as a cargo vessel there, so she spent the war years there, and it just helping with that, because there were, I think, loads of people, soldiers from the war went to Shetland. I kind of we take her up to Shetland, and then she came back down and worked sort of during the declining years of the fishing industry into the 60s and 70s. Which obviously saw like bigger boats coming in, big trawling coming in. And so the fishing industry kind of slightly started to dwindle. And eventually she fell into disrepair because the boat was not being used as much. So she sunk actually twice, in two winters. And she was saved then after the second sink by the Anstruther's Fisheries Museum. Loads of money and energy was gone into saving her and retelling her story and putting her kind of in pride of place in the Anstruther Fisheries Museum, so that we can reap the benefits of the past, and tell our story.
It's such a detailed and very specific story, but you can't help but take heart in any story of a boat or a person where you literally have just said, she sunk twice, but she got saved.
Yeah, totally.
Like, that aspect of hope, I think, rings through so much of it. I think that's maybe one of the things we cling on to. And as we were following the journey, I did wonder, because it is such a big story, and you do take us around Bowhouse, you take us on this journey across Scotland, across decades, over land and sea. And there is so much, because, as you said, once you start researching, where do you stop? Right? Okay. I find that impossible. Sounds like you may be a little bit the same. In light of all that, I'm struck by how cohesive this was. And I wonder how you managed that, because, there's all the narration was beautiful as well, right? So you've got the narration, you've got classical music, as you say, you're led a little bit by the musical traditions of certain times, but there's jazz in there. It's like so much of your work, not just this. Those boundaries are to be played with.
Yeah.
But how did you rein it in? How do you do that?
Did I? Well, you know what? It's really...
It's like the magic circle. You can't tell me your bit.
I'm just trying to reflect on how I did that, because the boundaries that I had were the orchestration, like the forces that I had for last year, which really kind of helped me keep it cohesive, keep it kind of consistent with the limitations that I had, the instrumentation, and the space as well. And then obviously the time that I had, was really important. Poor David, the amazing storyteller, David Hughes.
He was terrific.
He was brilliant. And he was working on last year's one also. He had to, I sent him this 12,000 page essay essentially. So he had to just cut and cut and cut until we got...
Is he getting a credit as an editor as well?
Yeah, he did get a credit. Yeah, so it was just kind of a case of cutting to get the essence, the bare. And I think that is the thing in general with music. I feel that's how my process works, is I love just collecting information, and then, like just paring back, getting to the sort of essence, the kind of the most minimal that you can, like the core of the point.
Yeah,
totally. The purpose of this music, and I always try to do that. Like start with just like a free write, if you will, and just then just summarize it. Try to like very briefly summarize it. And actually, often how I do that is just with tunes, like with like how the strong tunes. I think, and it's same with, I guess, like a strong sentence, a strong sentiment,
completely
with exactly the summary of the story.
Also, deadlines are useful, aren't they?
Oh,
you had to have the performance today.
Yeah.
It's like, is it finished? It's finished.
It's finished. It's got to be finished.
As much as anything ever is. I took great heart in the fact that this was called the premiere, because I was like, please, I want to see it again. I would love to hear an album. I just genuinely thought the music, the storytelling was stunning, and it does feel like something like this has many lives, right?
Thank you so much. Yeah, it feels strange, we've all of us that, I can't credit the music directors from the different ensembles enough. They're just amazing people, just like giving so much in terms of their time and energy to this project and just to the kids in general, and, supporting their kind of musical endeavors in all of their colors, their different colors. So yeah, to just have this one-off performance feels, and again, the tech team, they were just so brilliant to work with, like just made it just run really smoothly, really, really helpful. So it feels weird, to just have this one show. I really hope we get to give it a new life again.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. But yeah, as I heard the premiere, I thought, yes, it is a premiere, but a premiere suggests there might be something after the premiere. That's how we have to hear it. I loved as well that there were echoes within the production of your other work. I'm thinking maybe about something like a song like Blue, maybe particular Time of Blue from Expectations of a Lifetime. These ideas of exploring the natural world and making connections and collaboration seems to like run through so much of what you do. Are those the things that galvanise you, I guess? Because there's an unexpected element in every one of those things too, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, I feel like it's really my responsibility as a composer and a small voice, I know, very small in the context of, music industry right now, but I do feel like it's my responsibility to talk about the things that I believe in, and things that give me like kind of, a spark inside me. And for me right now, what gives me a spark is community, a sense of like us coming together, collaboration in music, and like the purpose of music, the point of music, to make noise together and to come together and to be harmonize in whatever that means together. And I think for me, like the way for us to kind of view that is just in nature. I think nature does that naturally. She harmonizes for us all the time. So just like listening to nature, patterns in nature, soundscapes in nature, like the sea in itself, what a symphony of sounds. And so actually, as part of this project, I did a lot of scribbling and all that, but I also just went and listened to the sea,
Really?
Yeah, and I just I've written quite a lot of music about the sea actually over the years, just because it's just amazing. Like
where did you grow up?
In Peebles, so not on the coast.
Right, yeah, that's what I thought. And because quite often you find, you have such an intense relationship with something that has almost been, your ear has been attuned to forever. But you were just lured. Well, I love that it's just out there. When you were saying about corresponding and chiming with nature, I was like, we should have recorded in the barn, because at that point the birds could have sighed singing. I might put them in as a sound. I will not put them in as a sound effect. That could be very natural. So yeah, the idea of collaborating with nature and with other musicians and with communities is obviously key, and with boats. But also on that album, your wonderful album that I mentioned, and before that, and also forthcoming, poetry and collaborating with words and poets. When did that first strike you as a way in which you could explore the words of Edwin Morgan we hear, Rachel McCrum, I know Carol Ann Duffy in the past. We'll come to Jackie Kay. Has it always been something that just struck you as another way to explore the words, but also to explore the possibilities of your music?
That's a great question. Actually, I remember at school, like one of the very first pieces that I wrote was for birds. It was a kind of suite of bird song. When I was at school. I mean, I don't know how, I don't even remember how it went now. It was just like sort of done and over.
It's in your subconscious somewhere. It's everywhere.
And but for that, I recorded lots of birds, and, you know, I tried to recreate the sounds of them. And then I also took the text on kind of the etymology of the birds and the names of birds.
Yeah.
And so that was like the foundation of that piece. I got someone to sing like the etymology of the birds. That's funny remembering that. I've forgotten about that.
I love this.
Yeah, so I've always loved words. But I suppose my first time working with poetry was with the Carol Ann Duffy with the Manchester Jazz Festival with that I call it a big band. It was kind of like a combination of classical musicians and jazzers. And yeah, I'd loved poetry for quite a long time, and I'd always sort of read it just as a hobby or just, you know, for fun. And then I just had this kind of moment when I was reading Carol Ann Duffy. There's something about, I mean, every poet is different. Every poet means something else to me, but with Carol Ann Duffy, just the directness of her language. And I don't know, because she's Scottish and she lived in Manchester, and I am Scottish and I studied in Manchester too, and so we had that connection. And then there was something about her direct language, which is also very kind and also very kind of tender, but also strong. And I was really inspired by that as a young woman, I have to say. Like, you know, her kind of quite unapologetic, and the way she reads her poetry as well. It's very unapologetic, and it's kind of just straight up. And so I kind of went for that. That was very inspiring to me when writing that piece, like her, both as a poet and as a performer as well. And just like, I suppose again, just trying to reflect on my process with that. I sort of read her poems aloud and I listened to them, her reading them. And what I wanted to do with the music was say the sentiment that was already like totally explicit, perfectly formed in the music, but in the words, in the poem, but somehow kind of just give it more weight.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just spent quite a while trying to work out how to do that. And I just love doing that so much, because you're just presented with this, you know, perfectly formed piece of artistic work already, and you just get to kind of reiterate it and like hopefully just give it a new life. So yeah, it's something I've never looked back. I just love setting poetry to music. One of my favorite things to do. It feels like, you've already got everything there, so it's kind of just like serving. It's how best to serve what's already there.
And certainly on the album, Rachel McCrum mentioned, and Edwin Morgan's ones. So you have this sort of, if you like, the more established voice, and then someone like Rachel, who I've seen performing a great deal as well. Absolutely wonderful. She's too far away now, right? Rachel, come back. Exactly. Or you've got Edwin in the past. So again, it's the different voices as well, from history, geographically, and you know, all of that is within your music and within that album. It's a lovely thing.
Oh, thank you.
So when did you get approached, or when did you start thinking about Jackie Kay? So this is Edinburgh International Book Festival, August 15th. Yes. Spiegel 10.
Long. Well, I was really lucky because I've worked with the book festival before with Kirsty Logan, Kirsty Law last year. We did a new commission, and previous year actually we also did a couple of years before that we did another one. So they've been so supportive to me in the past, and I love working for them. And obviously, like, again, it's two of my favorite things, you know, words and music. So, and I love going to the book festival in general. It's like, I'm just like a little schoolgirl, you know, just like going to see Adam Buxton this year. Can't wait.
I know. It was, I was doing one of the launches with wonderful Jenny and Tam.
Oh, great.
From the festival. And I kind of had seen the festival programme, and I've got a few events as well. We were literally looking at the screen. I was like, oh, look at that.
Yeah. No, me too. Every time. And Jen agreeing.
Even Jenny was like, oh God, that's right. It's wonderful because it is so broad that the creativity within it is just wonderful. So Jackie Kay,
that's a Jackie
Poetry
Kay.
of the Heartstrings, I think it's called.
Yeah, so
lovely.
Yeah, and I was approached by them a few months ago, and they basically said, who would you like to work with?
Oh, wow.
And the two people that I named were Jackie Kay, because I was like, okay, if ever there was a hopeful poet, hopeful, heartfelt, someone who makes me feel cozy and, I don't know, just warm and, someone, I think, for me, I really needed that voice in this moment, in a complex moment in our history and the context of what's going on in the world. And so that was something that I needed to kind of carry in. I feel like she does that so beautifully in her words. There's an intimacy there, which is just like, it feels like a hug,
Yeah, completely.
And so, she was one person. The other person was Lem Sase, who wasn't available. But, they both of them, I think, both carry this sort of nature element, but also this like warm, tender aspect to their poetry. And so, it's just been a joy to get to know Jackie. And it's, to be honest, it's a bit of a dream come true. Like, I've loved her poems for so long now. And I was a bit nervous about meeting her, but she's just so down to earth and delightful.
Wow. I can't wait. She is such a beautiful writer. But again, she is so musical as well. I love her writing on Bessie Smith, for example.
Yeah.
So it's like, I love that nothing is ever just absolutely in its box.
Yeah.
It can't be, right? It's art. It has to kind of break out in whatever ways it can.
Yeah.
So how's that going to work on this sort of evening? I can see there was a picture of you with your harp in the programme.
Yeah.
We're rocking your harp today as well.
Thank you. Rocking it. I'll have the harp and I'll be singing. And also I'm going to have 3 members of the Dunedin consort, 3 female singers with me as well. And then the double bassist, who's the same double bassist that was there today. He's a beautiful musician, both classical and jazz musician. And so, I suppose I wanted to include some improvisation and also some more kind of formal singing and some early music. Because I suppose like the reason I picked the Dunedin consort is because I think there's something about summoning that kind of early. It feels quite primal. It feels quite pure, and it feels quite clear, And I wanted to give that quality to Jackie's words. So I'm really excited to hear that. I kind of, I've been hearing it in my head, but to actually hear it, like,
exactly, like, us hear it,
but exactly like this project, I've been listening to Sibelius, which is the music program that I write on, for months, like the horrible MIDI files. So then to hear, like the first time I heard the orchestra playing that piece, that all together was just like, wow, it was so cool just to. Like obviously, like humans,
and actual instruments. And yes, we followed you around. We followed you on the journey. And at one point, yes, there you were behind your harp. Quite often when I speak to musicians, I'll say to them, when did you first pick up a guitar, or where did you first pick up a fiddle? You can't really do that with a harp, right? You don't tend to be lying around. So what's your relationship with that instrument? When did you first encounter one, if you like? Was it in the house?
Well, my neighbour was a harpist, actually. She was Peebles based too, and just an amazing teacher, Charlotte Peterson. And she's still, to be honest, an ear on my shoulder. I mean, I've had loads of amazing teachers, loads of amazing harp teachers. Katrina Mackay was one at school, and she's still one of my favourite musicians, let alone harpist. Yeah. And then Earlyn Jones, who was my college teacher, and still a great friend and such a support to me. And a number of others. We're so blessed in Scotland with harpists and with different types of harpists as well, really creative harpists. I was lucky because I played fiddle first, actually, a bit of piano, and then there was a clarinet at my school, so I was able to start, and then eventually invest in my own harp later down the line.
I mean, even just carrying it up, the entire, transporting of it. None of these things are easy. What was it about it then? What age were you when you first, if you like, stood at a harp and had a go?
So I played clarinet first.
Yes.
And I still do a lot. But I must have been 8 when I first picked up the clarinet.
All right.
So I was still little.
Yeah.
But then the big harp, I think I was...
the big harp.
the technical terms. Big one. Pedal harp, as I suppose it's called, I think I must have been 12, 13.
Okay.
And it was Katrina Mackay who suggested I try that one, actually.
Really?
Well, she was like, I think you should give it a try. So I really have a lot to thank her for, and honestly, just a lot to thank her for in general, because marrying trad music, she's obviously a killer trad musician.
Yeah.
But she just gives every type of music that she plays equal weight and care and understanding. And, she gave that to me when we were looking at the classical music as well, looking at sort of classic harp repertoire when I was at school, because I was at music school. And, just like getting your ear inside and just giving everything the same attention, whatever tradition it is. That was really kind of, founding for me as a musician. And just to see her passion and just to see her career at the same time as her amazing teaching, that was just, so formative.
When do you sleep, Katrina?
Exactly. Yeah.
Never. But there's something about the myriad voices that you can conjure within the harp as well. There's something almost very human about it.
Yeah.
As an instrument. It struck me again today when we were watching you on stage, because you played the fiddle, you played the piano. I'm always interested in the instrument by which someone just goes, yeah, this is it. Whatever I feel is music and musical expression, this is talking to me, because they talk back, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The harp is, I guess, like, to be honest, I was a bit conflicted about whether to do violin or harp.
Oh, really?
When I went to college. Yeah, because I was encouraged to maybe consider violin. But I just felt comfortable. There was something about the comfort, like the resonance of that instrument. And I just felt like I had my pal with me on stage,
Yes.
And I just felt a part of that instrument, like physically, you're kind of hugging it. And you get to feel the resonance of it while you're playing it. And there was something really calming about that. And so, I got a lot of nerves when I first started doing concerts when I was quite young. I had quite a lot of anxiety about it, actually. But there was something about the harp that really calmed me down.
Wow. It's a grounding thing, literally, right?
Exactly. It was a grounding thing. And I just wanted to carry that through, I think, in my work. Because it's, it can be a hugely stressful thing being a musician. And for me, that it was just, it's just like having my friend to hide behind. Quite like that as well.
You should have brought the harp along for this chat. Where is it anyway? Because we're in this wonderful, huge farm building. Are you going to go and see some more East Neuk Festival concerts tonight?
Yeah, the Elias Quartet. Here are a couple of pals and playing with them. And then Castellan Quartet tomorrow, who I love. Catherine Tickell's on later too.
Yeah.
She can't wait.
Yes, I Tickell as well.
Loved her. Again, like my whole life, very formative for me wanting to be a musician when I was younger. So I'm hoping to go to those 3 things. Just take in the atmosphere.
Oh, I know, completely. And right by the sea. So, you've got your friend right there.
Dip in the water, hopefully, as well.
I can't wait to go back to the Fisheries Museum and revisit, now with all this new musical memory of the boat's story and, just the number of times in which she had sunk and been saved.
Yeah.
I'm going to take heart in that hugely. After the Edinburgh International Book Festival, maybe hoping for more music. I know your album just came out last year, but I'm impatient. What else? Are you always writing? Have you got any more gigs?
Yeah, I'm doing a new EP, actually, which I just recorded last week.
Brilliant, okay.
Yeah, so that's solo, actually, because it's kind of very different to the album. Because that was with, string quartet and piano and drum kit and pipes and trombone. Quite a few of us on there.
Every time that was a pivot, it was like, and pipes and trombone. Quite a surprise.
Yeah, exactly. And, I just like working with people as well. Like, I chose all the people on the album because I love their character of playing.
Yeah.
As opposed to for their instrument. Objectively, it's for their personality on their instrument.
Yeah.
And for their multiple kind of influences in the way they approach music. They kind of wanted that relatability for my stuff. But yeah, this EP is going to have 3 new just harp and voice tracks because I've been doing quite a bit of touring just solo in the last year actually, which I've loved. Just building up that like intimate show and just having that very direct relationship with the audience. And it means that I get to take my ridiculously big instrument round to smaller places and like really connect with people.
I better go on tour again. The harp wants out.
Exactly. Yeah, she does talk to me about that sometimes.
Better get out. She's getting stir crazy again. So that's coming soonish?
Yeah, that's out on the 4th of October.
Oh, brilliant.
So it's launched in the Piano Dome. In Edinburgh. And then I'm taking it all around England, actually. I've not really toured much around England yet. So that'll be a solo tour. And there's also going to be 3 to 4 remixes on that EP, which take the stems from my album. So all just featuring the stems on my album. And remixes kind of maybe gives connotations of like kind of beat, like super beat based, but they're a bit more ambient, kind of
brilliant
electronic sound worlds, which I'm collecting at the moment, which is really cool to just hear. Because I love working with electronic musicians as well. I've done quite a lot of work.
Oh, I'm very curious as to who they're going to be. That's exciting. That's very exciting. I'm going to start guessing in my head. I won't say any names. No spoilers yet. Well, I can't wait for all of that. Can't wait for the EP. And I love that every single thing you've said from that particular EP, the stories on it and the remixes, to coming back here in the Promenade performance you took us on today. It's all about journeys, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's about changing and evolving and moving with times and also, sinking again and then being rebuilt.
I'm here for that. Okay, I'm going to go and look at the sea. I'm going to go to the Fisheries Museum. I'm going to marvel at the cave and the installation and then we're going to see some more concerts at wonderful East Neuk Festival. I love you even wearing the t-shirt, Esther.
Oh, yeah. It's a cool t-shirt. Yeah, the flags. I just wanted to say, because we had an amazing artistic designer for this year's let's call it the big project. That's what it's called in the festival program, who designed 5 flags for us this year. There's 4 kind of slightly smaller, still massive flags, but then 1 huge flag that just went across the whole banner of the front of the stage.
Yeah.
And so she also designed these t-shirts.
The visuals were stunning today. I really, really did love them. So yeah, and a little shell on that. Nature everywhere. Okay, I will show you that record shop photo.
Yes.
Okay, let's do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure.
The wonderful Esther Swift. Thank you again to Esther, Emma, Bowhouse and the brilliant East Neuk Festival. Esther's lovely album Expectations of a Lifetime is glorious, is out now, and she is live at the Edinburgh International Book Festival with Jackie Kay tonight. That is August the 15th. And yes, one more time, join me please and special guests at the Fringe next week. This is lunchtime chats I'm having and songs in some cases with Barbara Dixon, Horse, Gordon Buchanan and more. There's lots more information at akickupthearts.org. If you fancy hearing more from the aforementioned and legendary Sua Lee, cellist and wonder, there's an episode of Sua with Karine Polwart. I would love you to listen to that. A Kick Up the Arts, name a more iconic duo. And for now, thank you for listening and sharing and commenting and liking as always. Hope to see you soon.